Hello everybody, my name is Alex and today I'm going to be discussing a topic that was in a subscriber's comment, and that topic was figuring stuff out by ear. So listening to a song and figuring out what the chords are or what the melody is and all that. Now for this particular video I'm going to really focus on the chords, not so much on the melody, and I'm going to run you through my technique of figuring figuring a song out by ear. So let's go. The first thing I would do is grab my guitar. This is a process that has to do with trial and error, so you need an instrument to really make sure that what you're transcribing, so writing down, is correct and works. I'd grab a piece of paper to write stuff down in, and pen or pencil or whatever. And I'd start real simple, just writing the name of the song. So just name of the song, right? And then I'd write something like deciphered or decrypted. So deciphered. Then I'd write key. So what the key of the song is, I'd write key. And capo, if I'm using a capo for it. And then the rhythm or the rhythms. So key, capo, and rhythms. Now this is probably going to be inverted, isn't it? So anyway, you get what I'm saying. Key, capo, rhythms. And just before we move on, I really need to let you know that this is a process of trial and error, and what this means is that there's no trick that will get you to figure anything out by ear instantly. This is ear training. This takes years to develop a good ear and become really proficient at this. It really helps if you're playing an instrument and you've been playing for a while, because if you've been learning songs, you figure out similarities between the tunes and all that. It definitely helps if you know a bit of harmony. That really helps. Learning harmony is important, at least some aspects of it, because harmony is a huge, vast topic, so you don't need to know all of it. Sometimes you know bits and pieces of harmony, but you don't know how really to connect them, and usually somebody has to tell you. So especially if you are self-taught in harmony, this can be a bit challenging, but nevertheless you do what you can, and you use your tools, the tools at your disposal, to figure the song out. Okay, let's go. So, especially in Morna, rather specifically in Morna, because I'm going to be referring to Morna in this video, right? This is about Morna music. The first thing that I would do is listen to the song and try to notice, that's the best one. Try to hear if the song fits into a very specific pattern, Morna pattern. So that could be a Tchoradinha, whether a basic Tchoradinha or an advanced Tchoradinha, with filler chords, or maybe it fits a profile of like maybe a major, major Morna, which they have their patterns too. I'm gonna be discussing some of these in a while. Maybe it fits a profile like Mis Perfumado, Figlio Maguado, these songs that are again very specific, or Lora. Or if it's a complete disaster of a song in terms of, it's all over the place, the chords are really special, there are no patterns in the song. A song like Luz de Estrela would be like that, where it's all over the place and you gotta figure everything out specifically. So, to figure out the key of the song, what I usually do is I play around a bit and then figure out a shape. And then based on that shape, I try to figure out the other shapes, and then I end up on the key. Now, you really gotta know your shapes to do that on the guitar. So like I listen to a song and I test out different melodies, or I see, okay, so we got this sort of shape, so A minor, so A minor, so A minor. We got an A minor in the song. That means it's probably in the key of A minor. It might be in the key of A minor. Could be in the key of E minor. But you know, so like you've got things to hold on from. So let's say that we did find out it's in the key of A minor, and if it's a Tchoradinha, you know, you'd listen for that G7, you'd listen for that E7, and if it's more advanced version, you'd listen for the D minor and the F. And from this point onwards, I'm gonna start speaking in harmony terms and music harmony terms, because you know, it's really important to know this basic stuff. So the key of the chord is the first. The key of the song is always the first. So A minor, that's our minor first chord, and we're probably on a minor harmonic scale usually with Morna. So that would give us a G7, so that would be our dominant 7th chord. First, dominant 5th, so that is E7. That in different keys you'd get E minor D7, E minor B7. In the key of like C minor you'd get C minor B flat 7, C minor G7. Now you might be wondering, how do you know this? How do you go about this? There is a way to start picking up harmony on your own. You could go online and type chords in the key of. So you type in chords in the key of A minor, for example, and you get all the chords. A, and you go by fingers. So the first is A, then it's B, C, D, E, F, G. So that's all the notes and all the chords that come from these notes. And you learn that, you know, the first is always a minor chord in the minor scale. And then, you know, the B is a diminished chord, the C major chord, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and back to A minor. And following this pattern, you realize that, oh, if we start from E minor as our first, then our 7th is a D with a 7th because it's a dominant 7 in the harmonic scale. Again, E minor first, and B7, which is our dominant 5th chord. So, and this takes a while to practice and to know by heart all the different variations and all the different keys. I still don't know them. Like if you ask me, oh, what's the third in the key of C minor? Like I don't know it. I could answer you in a bit. So I'd go C, D, E. So it's the E, and it's a major chord. So it's E flat in this case. You gotta be a bit more nuanced when the keys have flats and sharps, of course, but we're talking about easy keys here, so it should be no problem. So if it's a Tchoradinha, you're going into that first, dominant 7th, first, dominant 5th. If it's a more advanced Tchoradinha, you get minor 1, minor 1st, minor 4th, sometimes with a 6th. So, with that B in there somewhere. Dominant 7th, 1st, 6th, that's our F chord. And again, E7, right? So I'd write down key. So let's say our A minor is our key. Nice. Should I play this with a capo? Sometimes you hear specific bass runs, or you hear maybe the guy is playing with the capo on the 5th fret to use E minor shapes because he wants to do that. To get these higher notes, so you might want to use a capo on the 5th fret and use E minor shapes for that. In this case, we're going to put no capo, and then rhythms. Okay. Oh no, let me talk about a couple of patterns first. The mis perfumado pattern, figlio magoado pattern, all these patterns. It goes basically first, 5th, first, and then maybe first again, sometimes 4th, 6th, dominant 5th. Then it's 5th, sometimes there's a 4th added in there as well. Da, 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 5th, da, 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 5th, first. songs that follow this rough pattern would be Figlio Magoado, Mis Perfumado, Creo Vi das chorar. So there is this sort of repeating kind of thing, or even part B of the song. What's the song? I don't remember the title right now. It's escaping me. The song's Até que ponto pode vai. Parti de dor, parti de dor. Parti de dor que tá constrange largo espaço na nosso coração. Sentimento de amor e tudo dá pra. And then it changes up a bit. But you know, all these are, very, very often used. And I mean, there's only so many places you can take a harmony with one scale, right? There's only so many things that you can do to give a particular sort of feeling. Also, the pattern of Lora. So 1, 4, 7th, 1st, 6th, 5th, right. Again, it's a shape that it's a pattern that's used all over the place. And then the rhythms. So the rhythm is something that is sometimes very hard to figure out, depending on how many instruments are there, how clean the mix is. The age of the record can play a role in this. The newer it is, the more easier you're going to make out the things, because they're recorded in a more clean environment and mixed better as well. But and you gotta have a blueprint for all the rhythms in your head, at least in your subconscious. So you gotta be like, okay, this sounds like this sounds like that. You gotta have some sort of demonstration to go by. For example, if I listen to the classic Morna rhythm, I'd listen for that bass. So or for the Morna Galop thing. I'd listen for that sort of bass going on. Or for this anticipated sort of bass that you hear in Umbertona's Lora. So and really, the more sophisticated you are with your representation of the rhythms, you start to figure out, specifically by counting them. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's really hard to count that specific rhythm, but also 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. So or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So you start to figure out which beat of the bar they sit on exactly. And you get more sophisticated with it. You start to copy in more detail what you hear. Active listening is a learned skill. And to be able to pick out the different instruments, so the bass does this, the guitar does that, the cavaquinho does this, it takes a while. It takes practice. And at first you're going to get very general kind of notions like, oh, the guitar plays this. It's like, it doesn't really. It plays something more like... So there's a lot more nuance. This is hard to pronounce. Nuance. There we go. There's a lot more nuance to the rhythms that you might have initially picked out by ear, but that's fine. You know, it takes a while to develop the skill, as I said again, so be patient with it and give it time to develop. And then, of course, I'd write down the song formatting. So that means if a song is made out of parts, you gotta write down the series of parts that it goes in. So if it's just a constant loop, if it's a Tchoradinha, you know, first, seventh, first, and fifth, and that's a whole song. Songs like Angola, Sei Son na Tarafal, songs like, you know, of that sort of nature, or even Carinha de Bomai in some cases. These are just one constant loop. Angola is a coladera. Pajon by Tchoradinha. So you'd get this, you know, constant thing going on, and you'd write one thing and then constant loop. But songs like Mis Perfumado have a very clear verse and a very clear chorus, and sometimes an intro that's different. Usually it's just part B without lyrics, so instrumentally played, the chorus of the song. And so you'd write part A because you still don't know which one is the chorus and which one is the verse, particularly if you can't speak the language like me. So I'd write part A. And then I'd go and if the song is in 4/4, I'd write 4/4 and then chord. Then I'd do this little line. I don't know how you call this, a slash, right? Slash, next chord, slash, next chord, slash, next chord, and then go down, go below, and then X, slash, X, slash, X, slash, X, go below. And do that until you're relatively sure that part A is done, and then you write part B. And if you figure out that part A is a verse, you'd write verse, and part B is a chorus, you'd write chorus. Hold on a sec. All right. And if you got an intro, you'd write intro. And if you figure out it's the same as part B, just scratch either one. Sometimes there's part C in songs like Oriundina, so that is part C. If a harmonic idea repeats itself, you can just place it in brackets and write x2, so times 2, right? And it would start to look something like this. So key, capo, rhythms, song formatting, part A, part B, part C, and then what I'd write in the end is in the next to song formatting, I'd write A, B, B, C, A, which basically means part A 2 times, then part B 2 times, part C 1 time, and part A 1 time, or whatever the formatting is, right? And that's pretty much how I do the whole transcribing songs thing. I've transcribed songs like Luz de uma Estrela, I've had to transcribe Partidum d'Or, for which you usually can't get many things online, so chords online, you have to trust your ear. That said, if you have any questions about a song and you want me to transcribe it for you, do send me a message and I will most likely be able to do it, especially in the Morna category, because you know it's not really that hard once you know what to look for. So yeah, just to sum it up, this is what I do with a piece of paper and a pen and my guitar. Meanwhile, I'll play all this. And learning a bit of harmony helps. But the most important thing is just have mileage on the guitar. So keep playing, keep practicing your ear, because there's really no other way and no trick can teach you how to effectively transcribe songs. So yeah, hope you learned something from this. I hope that was a helpful kind of thing. Maybe I'll do a couple more videos on this, you know, about the melody in particular, or this or that. But this is the crux of it for now, and thanks so much for watching. Now remember, if you want to support this channel, you can do a one-time donation on PayPal. You could also subscribe to my Patreon page, links in the description. If you want me to do a backing track for you, I do have a Fiverr account for Morna backing tracks. Link to that is in the description as well. And I also do give private Morna lessons, so if you want to have a lesson with me over Zoom or Google Meet or any other platform, I'd be very happy to do a private lesson for you or with you. And see you in the next one. Have a good one.